week 18 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I would look to buy low and trade for right before the trade deadline in most fantasy leagues this week. The first guy is Javier Baez of the New York Mets. So far as a New York Met, the struggles have been real here for Baez. On the season for him, 24 home runs, 68 RBIs, 52 runs scored, 13 stolen bases, and a league-leading 145 strikeouts with a 241 average and a 285 on base in the last couple weeks here since he joined the Mets. 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 4 runs scored, a 205 average, a 244 on base, and 15 strikeouts in 39 at-bats. So right here, we know what we're going to get with Baez. Quick at-bat from him. He's going to swing early in the counts. He's going to strike out a lot, but he shows power a lot as well, and he qualifies at shortstop. And once Francisco Lindor comes back, second base or third he's going to play, depending where they want to put Jeff McNeil. So right here, Javier Baez, we know he's a big power hitter, but right now he's just swinging at everything and anything with a high strikeout rate. And he's only got 2 home runs in the time New York Mets so far in the first 2 weeks, with only 8 hits in that time. So right here, he's definitely pressing his Baez. And now he's banged up as well with a hip injury. So we'll see today if he plays in any of the 2 ball games versus the Washington Nationals in this doubleheader. So the last few games here for Baez: August 3rd at Miami, 0-4. August 4th at Miami, 2-5 with a homer, an RBI, and 2 runs. August 5th at Miami, 0-5 with 5 strikeouts. August 6th at Philly, 1-4. August 7th at Philly, 1-3. August 8th at Philly, 0-2. He got hurt in that one. And August 10th, he didn't play in that ball game. Or August 11th, obviously the suspended game. So we'll see if he plays today. But right now, if you need shortstop help and a guy who's still going to hit the ball for power, even though the average is going to be low, I think this is a time to get Baez on your team. And I don't think you got to break the bank to get him, in my opinion. He's been struggling, and the strikeouts just keep piling on as well, with him not getting on base in total. The next hit is Nick Castellanos of the Cincinnati Reds. Castellanos came back from injury a couple weeks ago here, and so far he's been struggling mightily here, is Castellanos. But on the season, 19 homers, 62 RBIs, 64 runs scored, 319 average, and a 375 on base percentage. But the last couple weeks since he returned, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 185 average, and a 281 on base. So right here, this Cincinnati Red team, they're trying to make a run at this division in the Central, and has been trying to be the man right now, white hot, hitting home runs. It seems like just about almost every day, it seems like, with Votto. But anyway, Castellanos, if this Red team really wants to take that huge step in this division with the next month and a half left here in the regular season, they're going to need him. And right now, since he returned, August 5th versus the Pirates, 0-3. August 6th versus the Pirates, 0-4 with a run. August 7th versus the Pirates, 2-5, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 8th versus the Pirates, 1-4 with a run. August 9th at Cleveland, 0-3 with a rib. August 10th at Atlanta, 1-4. And August 11th at Atlanta, 1-4 with 2 runs. So right now, he's struggling. This team, they've lost 3 in a row, and they need him to get it going. And I think he will, honestly. He's only back now about 2 weeks here as Castellanos. Got to get his legs on the room. Got to get the approach back. And I think he will. So right now, while his value's way down since the return from injury, this is a perfect time to get him on your roster before the deadline's up in your league this week, if that's when it is, or whenever. Just go out there and try to make a move for him while he's struggling. The next hitter I would look to buy low this week's Mookie Betts of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Mookie Betts lands on the injured list once again here for the Dodgers with a hip injury. And this Dodger team, they've taken a lot of injuries over the last couple weeks and throughout the season. We see Betts hurt, Justin Turner's banged up, Clayton Kershaw, he's out to September 5th, we're late now. Danny Duffy, who they traded for, is hurt. Bauer was suspended. So this team, they needed to make these moves at the deadline for Scherzer and Turner, in my opinion. So on the season here for Betts, he's been a bust. So let's be honest here, for where he got drafted in fantasy league, 17 home runs, 44 RBIs, 68 runs, 7 stolen bases, a 277 average, and a 370 on base in the last couple weeks for him. 3 homers, 4 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 381 average, and a 435 on base. So he was finally turning the corner and getting things going with Betts here. After most fantasy owners took him in the top 3 to 5 picks in their fantasy drafts. But now he's injured with the hip, and who knows how long he's going to be out. But right now, if you got an owner in your league that's down in the standings with bets, and you could take your time to wait for him, this is a perfect time to go out there and make a move. Because at this point, with the deadline coming up and only 5 to 6 weeks left in the regular season of fantasy baseball, the owners, they're going to want to go out there and get rid of bets pretty much for anything. And this is the perfect time for a team up there in the standings to make the move. So the last few games before he went down, August 1st at Arizona, 2 for 5 with a homer, and RBI, and 2 runs. August 3rd versus Houston, 1 for 4. August 4th versus Houston, 2 for 5 with 2 homers, 2 RBIs. August 6th versus the Angels, 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. And August 7th versus the Angels, 1 for 4. So now there's no timetable for his return. But he's already missed 4 days here, his bets. And let's see if this inflammation goes down quick in his hip, and then he could come back in hopefully the 10 days or a little after that. The next hit I look to get this week's Nelson Cruz of the Tampa Bay Rays. And Nelson Cruz, he got traded to the Rays right before the deadline, a couple days before. And so far it's been a struggle for him as well with his new team. But on the season, still solid numbers for the 41-year-old. 23 homers, 60 RBIs, 52 runs, 276 average, and a 351 on base. But since joining Tampa, it's been a real struggle. 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 214 average, and a 250 on base. And in the last month as a total, he's hitting 183. So Cruz, he's not really hitting for power right now. He's not hitting for average, obviously. And now with his versatility and non-factor in fantasy baseball, only a utility hitter at this time. He's definitely a player you could get on the dirt cheap if you need some home runs and some average. I think he's going to come around. He's just breaking in with his new team, and he's a veteran. He's going to figure things out over there in Tampa, in my opinion. So the last few games for Cruz: August 3rd versus Seattle, 0 for 4. August 6th at Baltimore, 2 for 6 with a homer, 5 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 7th at Baltimore, 2 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 8th at Baltimore, 0 for 4 with a run. August 10th at Boston, 0 for 4. And August 11th at Boston, 0 for 2. So right now, he's been up and down his Cruz, but I think he's going to break out of it after having those 2 big games, August 6th and 7th, with 2 homers and 7 RBIs in the 2 games span. And right now, like I mentioned, he's been struggling mightily, and fantasy owners, they might get tired of Cruz, especially that he only is a utility hitter. And this is the time to go out there and get him in the 5th and final hitter. I'd look to buy low and trade for this week. So Baldis Garcia of the Texas Rangers. So Garcia, he came out of the gates red hot with a lot of home runs early in the year, but now he's really struggled over the last month or 2 here, Baldis. But he's still a guy that I believe could finish the season with 35, 40 home runs. On the season, 25 homers, 68 RBIs, 52 runs scored, 8 stolen bases, 130 strikeouts, which is in the top 5 of strikeouts this season, a 250 average, and a 295 on base. So another guy like Javier Baez here. And he swings early in the count with that low on base on the season. And the last couple weeks here for Garcia, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a 217 average, and a 265 on base. And then the last month, he's only hitting 176, so it's been a mighty struggle here for Garcia. But we've seen some signs that he might turn it around and get the power going again with 2 home runs in his last 4 games. But Garcia right now, well, he's pretty much done nothing the last month for fantasy owners. This is a perfect time to go out there and get him. I think you could trade a low-level closer or a low-level starting pitcher to get him on your roster. And I think that owner would do it at this time, since he's really struggled here. Is Garcia the last few games: August 3rd versus the Angels, 2 for 4 with a run. August 4th versus the Angels, 0 for 3 with an RBI. August 5th versus the Angels, 0 for 3. August 6th at Oakland, 0 for 4. August 7th at Oakland, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, and a run scored, 2 for 4 in that one. August 8th at Oakland, 1 for 3 with a run. August 10th at Seattle, 1 for 5 with a homer. And August 11th at Seattle, 1 for 4. So right now he's struggling. But I think the power is going to come around here for Garcia, and it's just a matter of time before he finds that power stroke again. Hey, he's got 25 homers on the year, and he could get hot and finish with 35 or 40 if he really gets things going. But right now, well, he's not doing much the last month. This is a perfect time to get him. So that's a few hitters I look to buy low and trade for here, while a lot of trade deadlines are up here today in your fantasy leagues in Week 18.